Hello, my name is Douglas Bloch. I'm an author and depression survivor. Welcome to your Depression Recovery channel, where each week we talk about practical tools and coping strategies for healing from depression and anxiety. As many of you know, I'm an avid cyclist. I've talked about this on a number of videos. I'm also a numbers person. I came out to Oregon to learn how to be a math teacher. And because I love numbers, I have something called a Garmin Edge 800 cycling computer, which I attach to my bike. And as I ride, it gives me all these cool statistics, like how fast I'm going, how far I've traveled, my heart rate, which shows how hard I'm working, the grade of the road that I'm cycling on, my elevation gain, my elevation loss, etc., etc., etc. On this particular day, I was starting my climb up Rocky Butte when, for some reason, my computer stopped working. It went dead. Now, I knew I had charged it the night before, so I was really frustrated, but I couldn't get it to start up again. Now, as I began the climb uphill, I felt completely disoriented because with my computer down, I didn't really have the regular markers I could use to pace myself. For example, the climb is about 1 mile, so I know that when my computer shows me that I've gone 1/10 of a mile, I'm 10% done with the climb. 0.2, 20%. The turning point for me is when we hit 0.5 miles and it's 50%, and I said to myself, Doug, you're at the halfway point. It's really going to be easy after this, and I breathed a sigh of relief. But now, I had no way to measure how far I had ridden or how much time had elapsed. Because I couldn't do that, because I had no familiar markers, the ride seemed to take forever. I thought I would never get to the top. I had no way to measure out the length of my suffering. Then I realized this is exactly what happens during a depressive episode. When a person gets severely depressed, there's no way of telling how long it will take before the torment ends. There's no bicycle computer to track your progress. And because this happens, eventually the depression seems to wear you down and you lose hope. And this is where suicidal thoughts start to set in. Does this sound familiar to anyone? As I continued to struggle up the hill, I realized that there was one time marker that a person with depression could use during their struggle, and that is the time period of 1 day. I've said in these videos that the way to get through the pain of depression is to live 1 day at a time, or 1 hour at a time, or 1 minute, or sometimes 1 breath. It doesn't matter, because the time marker that you use is finite. It's not infinite. This thing doesn't go on forever. It will end at the end of a day or an hour or even a minute. And because it is finite, you don't give way to despair, because you know the end is coming and that your suffering will conclude in a short period of time. Actually, your experience of depression is time limited. It will end. I repeat, it will end, but you just don't know when. This is why you just have to get through breakfast and then make it to lunch and then make it to dinner. The next day starts over again. These are finite time segments. And so though, again, your depression may feel time unlimited, you can get through it if you break it into a series of segments, finite time segments that you can deal with and cope with. Eventually, I did make it to the top, but what made the difference was my friends slowing down and riding beside me and giving me moral support. This is analogous to having someone walk with you, stand by you during your journey through depression. This makes all the difference in the world to have somebody accompany you, because we were not meant to walk through the darkness alone. In conclusion, a depressive episode may feel time unlimited, but it's actually time limited. I mean, this is why we call it an episode, right? I mean, an episode is something that has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And so does your depression. So the way to get through this, as I've said, is to live it 1 day at a time, get through it day by day. And if you do this, 1 day when you least expect it, you will be lifted out of the darkness and into the light. This has been Douglas Bloch. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it's given you some encouragement. When people are really down with depression, they need encouragement. And if you have any comments, just leave them in the comments section, or you can write me, douglasbloch@gmail.com. In addition, during the closing credits, you'll see a number of images. If you click on the one in the upper left-hand corner, it will take you to the subscribe page of this channel. If you click at the one in the lower right-hand side of the page, it will take you to my Healing from Depression website. and the other videos, click on them and you'll be able to watch them. And until we meet again, I wish you the best in your mental health recovery. Remember, depression does have an end. This too shall pass. Thank you.